Keisha at We Inspire Brand, Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop, and Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks. Today, we're talking about what's in a name. Can you or Facebook, because Facebook's reinventing, they're trying to anyways, can you or Facebook reinvent yourself, and should you? If you have not heard, Facebook is undergoing a name change, a brand overhaul. They are changing who they are as a business and how they represent it to you. I'm not as versed on the metaverse as Teddy is, so maybe she can help us understand what that is and what that means more. But along with Facebook, we have Kanye, who's changed his name to Ye or Ye. We haven't decided which one it is yet. But there's just a lot of stuff happening from the rebrand, renaming space, and we want to talk about it. Is it right? Should you do it? Can you do it? What does it mean? I've rebranded. But let's start with Facebook. Let's start with Facebook because this is huge for a major social media platform to go through not only a rebranding, but an actual name change. Teddy, what's your take on this? And what is the metaverse? That was the first thing that threw me. Like, what the hell is the metaverse?
Right. So this is deep, y'all. Like those of you that aren't in the digital space, you're not into artificial intelligence, you're not into virtual reality, the metaverse is blowing up. Okay. So the fact that Facebook wants to be synonymous with the metaverse tells you this is where we're going, right? Because they are like market leaders. So the metaverse is basically a digital world. I don't say a fake digital world, but a digital world. If any of you have seen that movie, Ready Player One, it takes place like in 2045 and everybody's in their virtual reality world every day, all day, except for to sleep, eat, and go to the bathroom. If you remember, there's a movie in the early 2000s called Surrogates with Bruce Willis, where everybody was an avatar. So everybody was at home, but their avatars were walking around. So imagine like you can buy land in this world, you can buy real estate, you can spend money, you can play Sims. Sims is a perfect example of a metaverse, only imagine if you could live in the Sims and not just play the game. So when you put your glasses on, you feel like you're there, you're doing that thing. So I think Mark Zuckerberg said this was going to be a 10-year like outlook, a 10-year plan to make the new Facebook, whatever it's going to be synonymous with the metaverse. And I think they're making this rebranding, number one, because of the whistleblower that just came out. I mean, I'm sure it was something that was in the works, but the whistleblower thing that blew up the last couple of weeks is probably forcing them to say, let's detract from that and let's change up on this thing, let alone the fact that cryptocurrency is blowing up. Facebook purchased a company called Oculus, and they have the virtual reality, I want to say glasses, but it's not glasses, right? It's a whole world. You go in there, you're playing tennis, you're looking around people's living rooms. If I'm having a Zoom meeting with you, I can actually see where you're sitting and you can see where I'm sitting. So it's that whole living and breathing in this whole alternate reality. So to answer the question that's posed, what's in a name? I think a lot's in a name. I don't want to say everything, but when you want to be something new, why not change your name? I mean, I think it's a great idea. It's a great branding strategy. I would love to see how Facebook is going to do this because it'll be a definite example for those of you that want to rebrand. I would take a look and see what's going to play out over the next couple of years and see how they do their rebranding.
And we don't know the new name yet, do we?
No, we don't. I don't. Faye be on it though, so maybe.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, the announcement they said is going to be made this week about what the name will be.
I have a question.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I was just going to say I have a question, but is it they're changing their company name or they're changing the name of the social media platform?
Honestly, because Facebook is in the middle of a PR nightmare, honestly, they have been in the middle of a PR nightmare ever since the privacy issue, the breach that took place about 4 years ago. And it's just been nonstop ever since that 2016 Cambridge Analytica scandal, I believe it was. They have just been trying very hard to figure out a way to rebrand themselves. Initially, and this is just from personal observation. They changed their interface up. I don't know if anyone noticed that. They changed the outline. They changed the layout of how the Facebook feed looks. Then they shifted things around with the algorithm. Then they called themselves adding a news feed, and then they just took it away last year. And I think because those things did not work out, primarily because of the fact, I think what really drove Facebook into an even bigger PR nightmare was them pretty much coming on board with taking political stance with the 2016 election as well. I don't believe any of that helped them, as well as the election from 2019. I just don't believe that made things worse, in my opinion. So fundamentally, I think what they've decided is to just fully transition into the metaverse story to hopefully save the company at this point. I don't even think it's them so much trying to save their image and rebrand their image, so much as it is them trying to rebrand their company overall. And it is a genius and classic move when it comes to, the wonderful world of branding strategy, right? It could help save Facebook initially, but ultimately, I don't think it may be enough to save the company's reputation overall. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But what's in a name, in terms of rebranding yourself, names are the most important element to your company, regardless of how big or small you are. It's also critical to your image because it's contingent upon how it's going to resonate with your users, your audience, your buyers, your purchasers, and whomever else. Like Kanye West has been calling himself Ye before he announced an official change. I believe it was Tori Hart who just did an interview about her deciding to keep her name as well. And I'm saying this because what I noticed about the both of them, as opposed to Facebook, is they were already kind of creating this visual communication with their names, which set up kind of like this identifier before they actually announced anything. Tori Hart was always known as Tori Hart. Even if she decided to call herself by her maiden name, how would that resonate with her followers? How would that resonate with the brand that she's been building? Same thing with Kanye. He's been calling himself Ye forever. So one of the things about a name change, I say go for it. But I want everybody to understand that it's never as straightforward as people think. You can't just wake up one day and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then everybody is supposed to latch on just like that. It has to do with planting a seed. So if you decide you want to rebrand yourself, change your name, you have to plant seeds. Facebook had started planting seeds a couple years ago when they got in the crypto, when they announced that they were doing their own crypto. Like I said, they started changing things, little by little before making this announcement. Kanye West started calling himself Ye, planting a seed, before he initially made an announcement that he's officially going to change it. So it starts with planning. It starts with, planting a seed, and you just have to be consistent with it, and make that a part of your strategy. Make being consistent with it a part of your strategy. So yes, go for it. If you think you could do it, plant your seed now.
And it has to make sense. Changing your name and or your brand should definitely make sense, right? So my first business was called Closire. It's what I led with. It's how people knew me. People knew my business name before they knew me. When I stepped into a room, they were like, "You're that Closire girl, huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my name is." And then I started branding myself as the mogul. So then people recognized me as the mogul in the making, mogul this, mogul that, mogul this, mogul that. People understood it. They knew what it was. But the mogul piece of my business wasn't as fulfilling as the Closire piece. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to close both of these businesses down and create a different business. And so I shut down Closire. I shut down the mogul brand. And now I have Upscale Noir, which is a combination of the two. And the work that it's taking to bring Upscale Noir to the same brand recognition as I had with Closire and I had with the mogul business, it's more tedious than I anticipated, shall I say. People get it, they understand it, but because they already knew me as these two different brands, now they're like, well, why you change the brand? And once I talk about it and I explain it, well, Kosire was to empower Black people and to, make sure that who we are and how we want to be represented is important. People understood that, they grasped that. And the mogul brand is to help entrepreneurs and Black-owned businesses be moguls in their field. They get that. Well, Upscaling the War is the culmination of both of those things. It's upscaling Black people, whether you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, or you're just a person who, not just, but an individual that has a job that wants to get to the next scale. So if you change your name, just make sure it makes sense. Make sure that you can relate it back to your business. Make sure that people understand why you want to change your name and or change your brand. For Mark Zuckerberg specifically, based on this article, this is the first time that a corporation has gone, a tech company. So this would be the first time that a tech company has attempted to rebrand at the corporate level. That's already going to be interesting. So nobody's done this type of a thing before. Zuckerberg is doing this, well, effectively to transition from people seeing them as primarily only a social media company to being a metaverse company. And the new name demonstrates Facebook's focus on building the metaverse. So exactly to what Faye said, they want to get out of the social media game, right? So this name, whatever this new name is going to be super crucial and play into whatever it is that they're going to do. Facebook, we realize we know what that is though. It's an online book with people's faces and you engage. So it'll be interesting to see what this new name is and how it ties into how they want to be seen and known going forward.
Definitely. And I want to say, I know Keisha, I'm going to let you talk. I'm sorry, but I want to say for those of you, I'm going to switch to the business side because us ladies were having a backstage conversation a couple of days ago. When you're trying to find the next big thing, like when I discovered crypto, I was like, this is the next big thing. There are little seeds and little things that are dropped. It's little whispers. This is more than a whisper, y'all. Like, this is huge. Facebook, who owns Instagram, who else do they own? They own a lot of Instagram. Oh my gosh, this is huge. So if you don't know what the metaverse is, you need to know. You need to be Googling and researching as soon as you're watching this video and figure out what it is. Come to the Black Business School, and there's a cryptocurrency club. We have a Black crypto club. Come there. Go to at The Real Teddy Talks on Instagram. I have a link on my bio. Come to my website, therealteddytalks.com. We talk about this in the Black Crypto Club because I want you guys to be on the front end of this and not missing what's the next big thing. So learn about it, then decide what you're going to do with it. Go ahead, Keisha. I'm sorry, honey.
No, it's fine. It's fine. And I think it's important for us to learn from these companies, right? Because like you said, Teddy, like they're following what's the next big thing. And that's what we need to be doing. Like, oh, okay, like this is what's going to pop. So let me jump on this before it pops so that I could be on this train and I could be making my money, right? So this is what we need to do. And like you, Lene, I changed my name, but it was in the beginning stages of my business. So I started out as We Inspire Tees because I was only selling t-shirts. I was selling apparel. And then I went into the coaching space. So in the coaching space, I said, well, I can't just be We Inspire Tees. Like I'm doing more than just selling t-shirts. I'm doing more than just selling apparel. So how can I change my name to reflect everything that I'm doing? So I switched it to We Inspire brand. So now it's We Inspire, it's the entire brand. It's the apparel, it's the coaching, it's everything that I'm doing in one shot. So like you guys said, like I did plant those little nuggets, right? I was talking about what was coming up or what I was doing, but the tease, it just didn't make sense anymore. And for me, I think that you can change your name. How many times did Diddy change his name, right? Like some people call him Diddy, some people call him Puffy, some people call him Puff Daddy, like whatever generation you in, you call him by a different name, right? But he is still him, right? He is still doing what he's always done, being a mogul, like whatever he's doing, but he's doing what he's always done. And I think that when you are serving people, as long as you continue to serve them, as long as you continue to solve those problems, you will be successful. So you could change your name, you could change your colors, you could do whatever you want. But as long as you are serving them, you're solving the problem, you're providing that great customer service, you're going to keep them coming back.
Right.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. Faye Bishop is a brand all its own, just my name. It is something that was established way back during the MySpace days, when I was doing radio briefly. I have to share this story. I went by my government name initially because I was working in business. I was working at that time in the financial industry in corporate America. I had heavy ties with Bank of America, right? But I wanted to go back to my major, which was TV and radio, because I did industry work briefly. Well, I was told by a radio disc jockey, a popular radio disc jockey at the time, that name is not going to work. It's too common. You got to change that, girl. Instead of going by my government name, I went by my middle name, Faye, and then I kept my marital name, which was Bishop, which ironically is also tied to a very my favorite popular movie villain, which is Tupac's character in the movie Juice. So I decided to keep that going forward, primarily because not only is it relative to my online personality, it's relative to the businesses I run online. And I actually have so many online businesses, but I tend to keep the anonymous approach only because the brands are actually their own entity. And Faye Bishop is also her own entity. However, they are attached. And I'm saying that to say, it's interesting that in the scope of this name change that Facebook is going through, we have Donald Trump, who, like myself, although I'm nowhere near as big as this guy is, whose own name is a brand. He has hotels, he has golf courses, he has real estate, but the Donald Trump name itself sells itself. It sells itself so much that he too, and it's crazy, Facebook make their announcement about their name change. Donald Trump makes his announcement about his own social media platform that is scheduled to debut February of 2022. And a lot of people may not believe that it's going to be big, but it is. Why? Because Donald Trump, the brand name, has his own following, whether it's in the political stratosphere, whether it's in the real estate stratosphere, anything. The name itself carries. It's a brand. So it's very important to remember that everything is in a name. You just have to stick with it. You have to plant seeds and you have to be consistent.
I was going to reference Tina Turner, right? When Tina Turner walked out of her marriage, the thing, she's like, keep it all. But I take my name. I work for this name. This name belongs to me. And I was like, but daddy's blood is on that name.
Right. But then you start building a business and you're like, oh, I get it now. I get why she wanted her name.
That's why I couldn't change mine. I said, I mean, I'm getting married in the future, which I don't think is that far from now for me. That name, the Faye Bishop part, that's like has been its own thing. It's when people Google me, I come up, my socials come up, and every single thing that I'm attached to, including articles that I wrote years and years ago, are attached to that name. So it's like, I can't change that.
I don't use my full government name because I lived a whole life before now, right? And I started off wanting to be a different brand. I don't want to be associated necessarily, like I'm proud of my history, but this is a whole new thing, a whole new direction. So the people that know me in my real life don't really know Teddy Ewing. And I like it that way. But the people that are closest to me, and like not even that close, like my associates, they'll know this side of me, but you'll be surprised how many people in my everyday life have no idea that this is happening, right? That Teddy Ewing is even happening. And she's pretty damn big, right? Teddy Ewing got it going on. And I like that. It's like I get to live like an alter ego. I get to be like Catwoman or somebody. And I love that. And also in my profession in the military, a lot of times you're building your career, and this probably happens in corporate America as well. When you're building your career and you run into people, you meet people, you encounter people, you have mentors, they know you by your name. So just say you do go through a divorce or you get married, and for women especially, and there's an opportunity to change your name, you want that person you met 5 years ago to be able to find you and give you that banging job offer, or that banging opportunity 5 years from now. And they don't know who Teddy McGee is, right? They don't know who that person is. So I got to be Teddy Ewing. So I used to be very kind of judgmental about women who didn't change their last name. So I'm like, you're a unit, you're a whole, you want to be a brand together, you want to be a united front, you should change your name. Then I owned a business. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Everything's attached to that name. You built yourself up in your corporation, in your job. This is you, and you're not going to give that up to be PC or to appear some kind of way. If you love your spouse, you love them. You don't have to give them, you don't have to take their name, or you take their name, but you keep your brand. Like Faye said, this is your brand, this is your business, this is your LLC, but it don't have to be when you sign your check. It's your real name, it's your government name, right? So there's options when it comes to rebranding. And
we see that a lot in entertainment. We see that a lot in entertainment.
Yeah.
Gabrielle Union, we know she's Gabrielle Union Wade, but her social media still says Gabrielle Union. I think Jada Pinkett Smith, she added Smith to the end. But you see that if you started with a brand name before getting married, a lot of times they'll keep that name. You know they're married, but they'll keep that name. Even when Beyonce and Jay-Z got married, she was still Beyonce Knowles for a very long time. And before she started putting Knowles Carter. My name is, I use my first and middle name. And I remember when I first started my business, my dad was not happy. He was like, how come you don't use your last name? I was like, well, it's not as crisp and cute and sexy as my first and middle name. So, and it's cool because I never have to change. No matter, even when I get married, I'll still be Lynn H. Beck because that's my first and middle name. So the brand says a lot, or the name says a lot. It's attached to your brand. So let's talk about Tori Hart. From the married perspective. She's created a brand as Tori Hart, right? Which is what we're talking about. She's created a brand as Tori Hart. If she was to change her name to Tori McGee, if we will, Teddy's last the example, people would be like, "Who the hell is Tori McGee?" Right. If she went on tour, if she tried to write a book, people would be like, "We don't know who Tori McGee is." So sometimes, like, there is so much attached to a name, and so let me ask you this. Let me ask you guys this. Is the brand what makes the name, or is the name what makes the brand? And the reason why I ask this is because you have a Kanye who can change his name to Ye or Ye. We still don't know the exact pronunciation. You have a Prince who can change his name to a symbol, right? These are brands who change their names. Can a person who just is a name with no brand change their name if they don't have a brand attached to it?
I think it worked.
You say like a regular person, like, or like.
I think so. I mean, think about people that are trying to leave something behind. They want a new start. Whether their name is attached, like, just say they come from a small town. I know plenty of people that leave a small town or smaller town and go to LA, go to Vegas, and they are, whoever. They have some extraordinary name. But why not? Why not? Like, what's in a name, right? So it's like the opposite now, because it's like you are not your name per se. And where I live in a Muslim country where every name actually means something. And no shade to anyone's name who you can't look it up in something and say what it means. But these are real words in the dictionary, in the Arabic dictionary. They all mean something. When someone hears your name, they know exactly what it means because it's a word that's attached to something. So that their name means more to them per se than someone whose name was just what your mama came up with. And no shade to your mama, but it didn't mean nothing. It wasn't your grandpa's name. She just was drinking Coca-Cola that day. She named you Coca-Cola. You know, Mercedes. We all know Mercedes. We all know Lexus. We all know Blessed. Blessed. We all know these people, and that's fine. But if you ever want to reinvent yourself, just change your name and go where nobody knows you, and then you are a whole new person.
So you reinvent yourself, and then you brand yourself. Yes. So you can reinvent, you can rename yourself, and reinvent through a new brand.
Right.
But
So we out here reinventing yourself with a new
That's
name
what I
after
did,
the same.
That's what I did. I was nobody. Well, I was 20 years ago. I won't say I was nobody.
You
I was
always somebody, girl. You is special.
Right.
You is smart. Okay?
I was a virtual unknown around the internet stratosphere years and years ago because I put Tina, which is my first name, in front of the Faye. And then the radio disc jockey said, Tina Fey, like Saturday Night Live, you got to think of something else, sister, because somebody already got that. And it's interesting, we're talking about the brand name, because when you hear Tina Fey, that's who you're thinking of. You're thinking of the actress from who did SNL and all of that. You wouldn't think of me. And then that's when my family and everybody calls me Tina, but I dropped that in Faye, and Faye Bishop was born in 06, honey, because I had thousands and thousands of followers on MySpace. I was working in theater at that time and living in New York City. Never forget, I was living in Brooklyn, Flatbush. Shout out to Flatbush. And at that point, I began to brand that name on every single thing that I touched. Every single thing I knew, regardless of what kind of work I was doing and with who I was doing it with, be it a corporation or a group of people or a certain organization, I made sure that you were going to know and the world was going to know Faye Bishop. Like I was going to be, the world was going to know me.
There you go.
Yeah. And I think Teddy said something important too. She said, if you're just like this regular person and you change your name, go where somebody doesn't know you, go where people don't know you, because you could change your name and you could stay in the same space. But as Teddy said as well, you are not your name. You are you. So you could change your name 5 times a year and you can still be you, and people are going to be like, okay, I still don't like you. I don't care.
I know the secret. I remember this. You got to leave it. You got to leave it behind.
You got to leave it behind. Leave it in a small town.
Yeah.
And even when you're a big name, see, and I think that this is why Donald Trump doesn't care. This is why I think Donald Trump tends to have like this cavalier attitude, regardless of what he's doing, whether he's president of the United States, he's appearing in a Macy's commercial, or he's, advertising his hotels. Donald Trump, the name, because it is a brand and because he has developed such a following, when you develop such a following, the way that the Donald Trumps and the Kanye West of the world have, you can change your name, and Diddy too. You can change your name to virtually anything. And as long as you're consistent with that, your audience is going to follow. That's why I've been warning people that you could try to sleep on Truth Social all you want to, because you and your feelings, there we go with them emotions again. You got to get out the emotions, Jesus Christ. Or you can get on board and figure out where this is going to go, because people slept on Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook many, many years ago. And here we are, and that's why I've been kind of encouraging a lot of people right now. Even if you have no intention on being a user on Truth Social, sign up for it. See what's happening with it. And in addition to that, pay attention to what's going on with Digital World Acquisition Corp. This is a company that merged with Donald Trump's social media company to build the network. And the stock started out at $9.95 just 2 weeks ago. When it opened, upon his announcement, it opened at $45.50. As of this conversation, just yesterday, Friday, the stock closed at $90.48, and I think that's why you can't just, when it comes to brand, you have to put your emotions aside and say, Donald Trump is attached to that. Kanye West is attached to that. They generate a lot of money.
Right.
A lot of money right there. Somebody make some money with this. So it's very important to pay attention to those little things. You can't just think, oh, Donald Trump, the president. Oh, I can't stand him. He was a racist. And Screw that.
Right.
No, fuck that. Right. To be honest, put them emotions out the window and really, really look into that, because the creator, a brand name with the right buy, with the right kind of outlook can develop companies that can be profitable in the end. That's what you want to look to. And that's the whole point of when you're building a brand in the first place, right? You want to be profitable.
You want to be profitable.
Yeah, green don't see color. Money don't see color at all. So they still want to make money, and they still make money move. So you follow the money, even if it's somebody who you don't like.
Yep.
And all y'all out there that's following the NFL, the NBA, whatever it is, there's a lot of these coaches coming out showing their true colors. Y'all ain't throw the jersey away. Y'all ain't throw them season tickets away. So you can't be so attached to the person, you know, and that whole money is the root of all evil thing. Like I think that was meant to keep people from money by saying crazy stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I move with the profit motive at all times. And another twist to this is, think about social media now. So think we are in 2021, almost 2022. If I just say I went through a whole bunch of mess, my name was attached to nothing but mess, all right? What do I do to escape the mess? I change my name. And then I blow that brand up. Then when you Google Truth Social or you Google my new name, Teddy McGee, you're going to get the new Teddy McGee. You're going to get the 2021 October Teddy McGee on. You're not going to get who I was before when I was in all that mess. So it's still online. Google can still find it, but the newer generations don't know who that person is. How many times do you mention somebody from the 90s and younger people don't even know who that is? And you're like, or they know them by their new name, but they don't know who they were in the 80s and 90s. I can't even think of a good example, but they'd be like, oh, so-and-so from this like brand new movie. We're like, no, this is like a superstar from the 80s. Like this ain't about this new thing, you know? So you
Versus is doing that today. Versus is literally doing that because they're doing all these old school battles. Yeah. So I forget who it was. I wish I could remember who did the battle, but their stock went up. Like Gladys Knight and Patti LaBelle. They got 300% sales, and these older rappers are being reintroduced to this new generation because they never heard of them before. Mm-hmm. So they're literally exactly what you're saying, Teddy. Yeah. The internet opens you up to a whole new world of old school, new school, but you have to know what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. Had they not, this information was still, but this information was there. These rappers were there. Yep. This content was there. Mm-hmm. People's histories are there, but you have to know what you're looking for.
You gotta know the name. You gotta know that old name. You don't know it, it's never to be found. So this is a great strategy. It's a great strategy to erase the past and start brand new. Because generations are moving. Life is moving forward. Time is moving forward. So everybody that's looking backward, y'all got to stop doing that because there's nothing back there for you. That rearview mirror is only meant to distract you. Look forward, look ahead. Look how you're going to make some money. Look how you can be on the next big thing. Look how you can brand yourself and become who you've always wanted to be. Don't be afraid to leave behind the old and go to the new. Your mama and granddaddy house going to still be there. Like you can go back anytime or not. You know what I'm saying? Make them come, buy them a ticket to come visit you in your new city with your new name. Like it's your world. Don't be restricted. I'm serious. Don't be restricted.
You know, I didn't realize how many of us weren't using our full names. I don't think any of us, even Madam President, is not using her full name. I just think that's so cool because I'm known as Keisha Ravenel, but my full name is not Keisha, right? Keisha is a part of my name. So I just think it's so cool. And just listening to you guys, I'm like, that's not your name.
Plus, it tells me how you know me.
Right. That's it.
How you know me, how long you've known me, where you met me from. Yep. So people who really know me, they call me by my legal name, like my legit name. And when I post on my page, like sometimes I'll get a certificate or my bachelor's degree or my master's degree. They'll be like, "Who's that?" And I'll be like, "That's me." They're like, "Who is it?" "That's me." "Who's bowling?" "That's me." I thought your name was Lene Yvette. It is Lene Yvette Bowling. Oh, okay. This is the funniest thing. I went out so I'll tell y'all a little something before we get out here. I went on a date last night.
Oh, yeah.
All right now.
Date. He calls me Javette. He was like, "I like Lene, but I like Javette more." So whenever he calls or answers the phone, he's like, "Hey, Javette." I'm like, "What's up?" I was like, "You need to make sure you know what my first name is, because if we're out in public and you call me that, people are gonna be like, Y'all familiar? Like, how you calling her? That name is super important. What people call you, how you're recognized, it's important. The brand is important. You want to make sure that the name that you use and the brand that you associate with, that they match. You want to make sure that the name that you choose and how you're represented, that matches your brand. You want to make sure that the brand and the emotion that you put out into the world, that matches your name. These things are synonymous. They should go together. You don't want to call yourself a high quality, top-notch business, and then the name of your business is low budget finds. Like, that doesn't go. There should be some, you know what I'm saying? They need to go together. Your name and your brand, they go together. You want to make sure that how you're represented in the world. And here's the last thing before we go around the room and close out is, doesn't matter if you're a business owner or not, you have a brand. Your name is a brand. How you, mom, that's a name. That's a brand. How your children see you, how they think about you, how they speak about you. When you go to work and you show up, if you show up late all the time and you come in dressed crazy, that's your brand. Your brand is late and lazy and crazy. Doesn't matter if you're a business owner or not. You have a brand. When you show up at church and you dress to the nines and your hat is to the side, you have a brand. Like, people expect to see you a certain kind of way. You don't have to be a business owner to be a brand. You don't have to be a business owner to have a name that means something. You can be a leader in the community, because every time young boys see you, you stop and you talk to them and you impart some wisdom on them. That's a brand. So I just want to make sure that everybody who's watched this video today, you know that you don't have to be a business owner or a major corporation or major business out here to be a brand. Just who you are in your everyday life, how you speak, how you talk, how you move, how you treat people, how you show up. That is a brand, and that is synonymous with your name. Whatever that name is, whomever you got it from, however you use it, your name is a brand, and you can use it for good. You can use it to influence. You can use it to be a leader, or not. But I pray and hope that all of us, like all of us, are using our names to be good, to be positive, to be influential, to be leaders, to help, to share, to empower, to motivate, and to lead. I'll go around the room with our final comments, and then we're going to close out for today.
Okay, I'll start off, I guess. Yeah. So just to piggyback off of you, Lene, I feel like that was like a mic drop, right? Like, that was it was just so beautifully said, because you're so right. Like, you don't have to be a business to be a brand. Like, everyone is their own brand. And just for me, I want people to know me as Keisha Ravenel, owner of We Inspire brand. She empowers and inspires the Black community. She helps Black women to build their own businesses, and she helps them to reclaim their confidence, right? Like, that's what I want to be known as. And, you know, like, I say that, like, that's my purpose for my business, but I feel like I've never put it out there, like, this is what I want to be known for, right? Like I said, just empowering my people, inspiring my people to do more, to go forward. And I also wanted to mention that if you do it right, it doesn't matter if you, and I know it's different with like Faye, like you said, like Tina Fey, right? That's a little bit different. But for me, my signature piece, right, and with my apparel is I am enough. And I know that there's plenty of apparel out there that says I am enough. There's plenty of people that's selling t-shirts and hoodies that say I am enough. But my people, when they see I am enough, they're sending me something. So my mom, she just bought me like this beautiful piece. She saw it in Michael's and said, I am enough, right? And she said, I had to get this for you because like this saying makes me think of you. And I have my followers and friends and family, anytime they see I am enough, they're sending me it. So whether it's a bracelet or someone else's hoodie, they're like, did you see this hoodie? It has your saying on it. I'm like, yeah, don't fret. It's okay. Like, that's not right. But, you know, you're following, that's your people. So you just have to make sure, you know, like I said earlier in the conversation, you're continuing to serve your people. You're continuing to solve the problems of your people to keep them coming back.
Yeah, that's good branding. That's good branding. Go ahead, Miss Teddy.
If I can add to that, I just want to say, and piggyback off of Keisha, who piggybacked off Lene, because you both right there. What I am enough is a seed. It's a seed. It speaks to what I said earlier in the conversation. What you have done is set up this visual communication that tends to extend itself as like this identifier of who you are and what your brand is and what your brand represents. And it starts with planting seeds. It doesn't even have to be a saying. It could be, like I said, what my name is. I began planting seeds about 15, 16 years ago. This is even before, this was at the early stages of the smartphone. Like I said, this is going all the way to MySpace, okay? And what most people started getting used to was just me talking, me speaking to certain people, and me coaching, and me giving my finance tips, and me giving everybody those entrepreneur tips. And because I'm not long-winded, although I'm long-winded on camera when I'm on YouTube with you ladies, because I just kind of shorten it and get to the point. People love that. In fact, they love it so much that even when I'm not online, even when I'm not making a video, they're in my DMs, not asking for my phone number, not trying to holler, not trying to say what's up, but they're like, I need a Fayeism. What's up? I need a Fayeism. It gets me going. I need a Fayeism. When you going to post videos again? It's all about, see, for me, Faye Bishop is about resonating in the minds of people. I need you thinking of me when I done left the room. And that's what's important to keep in mind. Like with I Am Enough, people are going, because they already identify that with you, Keisha, they're going to be thinking of it in their sleep. They're going to think of you when you're not in the room. And that's what's key. It's about planting seeds, which sets up like this visual communication and just being consistent with it. That's all you have to do with your brand. Think of that every single day as you're building on your brand, building on your business, and you will be in the minds of people and all over the internet forever. You will be like a Donald Trump. You're either going to be someone who everybody loves or someone everybody hates, which is what he is.
Yeah.
That's it. And I just say the only add to that is you can be whomever you want to be. But just know that when someone says your name or your brand, make sure they're speaking of you the way you want to be spoken about. And that's going to be in your everyday image. And you can reinvent yourself at any time, but you have to do it the right way. And you have to be prepared to leave the old you behind and go into this new phase. So you can honestly be whoever you want to be, but you need to be that person at all times when you're representing yourself and when you're representing your brand. So whatever that is, however you want people to talk about you once you've left the room, that is who you need to be when you're in front of those people in the room.
Amen. Thank you, everybody. First of all, thank you to my co-host, right? Thank you to Keisha at We Inspire Brand, Teddy Ewing at The Real Teddy Talks, Miss Faye Bishop at Miss Faye Bishop, myself. My handle is I Am Lene Javette, and our girl Chanel Walker, Madam President, who is not with us today, at One Madam President with a Z. First of all, thank you all for just showing up, but thank you to our audience for tuning in every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:00 p.m. Eastern as we do our Melanated Air Hour, where we just take the hour to air our life conversations about business relative to melanin experiences. So we love you, we thank you, and we will see you next time. Peace.